Hey everyone, welcome to episode 2 of The Run Home. I'm Riana Crehan and once again joined by James Pavey, our Supercars digital news editor, and former Supercars champion Mark Winterbottom. Boys, we are down to the final four. Very, very exciting, chaotic, high tension, high stress, highly emotional weekend at the Penrite Oils Sandown 500. Let's start with Chaz Mostert, the first guy to book his ticket into the finals. Frosty, 3 in a row for Chaz Mostert. He is coming on form at the most critical time of the year.
Yeah, really good weekend. I think what it shows, that team's very good on the blue sidewall tyre. Again, very dominant on the Saturday. But I said in this last episode how important friends are and teammates. And personally, I think Ryan Wood would have won that race. He wins that race hands down. So having an ally in your corner and having some form at the right time. Chaz in the box seat. He did a really good job on the weekend, but he owes Ryan Wood a couple of beers, I'm sure, at the end of the year, because he helped him out big time on Saturday.
Pavey, I'm sure you would have spoken to Ryan Wood across the weekend. You just can't help but feel so much empathy for him. He's been so fast all year long, really deserves a ticket in probably the final four, and just their mechanical issues, the failures they've had have cost him his championship at the end of the day.
Yeah, big time, Ree. I mean, they were leading the Repco Bathurst 1000. They should have won that race, in my opinion. They had everything going for them. They should have won that race. And so his seeding in the finals would have been stronger, which means had he had that problem he did while leading on the Gold Coast, he probably still makes it to Sandown. So I agree with Frosty. I think he was in the box seat to win Saturday's race, but he played the team game perfectly. I love how he just eased out of the throttle into turn one, let Chaz through. But the defensive efforts to keep Will Brown behind were what you need from a teammate. And Chaz did say to Ryan, I'll pay you back. I owe you a beer tonight. But then you look to Sunday as well, and it's on the flip side for WAU. Brian had that spindle issue, and I think a point that you raised before we were talking about recording this podcast is, has Walkinshaw and Andretti United used up all their lives? So it's pretty nervous times, but at the same time, Chaz's speed is very strong.
I suppose that is a question that you really need to ask. I mean, Walkinshaw and Andretti United, they have been fast. We know they've been fast all year long, but come Adelaide, if something like that happens to Chaz, I mean, that's championship over. Frosty as a driver, I suppose, do you start to have any doubt in the team, or is it just a case of everyone's just got to come together and they've got to work these things through?
Chaz's car's been pretty good. He's had a brake issue at Willowbank, and other than that, Bathurst had the engine issue, but his car's been okay. It was Ryan Wood's been the unlucky one, to be honest. But looking at Sunday, he had that spindle issue. When I watched the race, I start to question things. Was the contact with Brown on Saturday at turn 4 on the left front, did that cause issues come Sunday? You never know. So sometimes you have incidents over the weekend that can carry on. So if you're Chaz Mostert, you don't care about reliability all year. You just want a car that can do 500 kilometres, come a couple of weeks' time, and that's all you need. That's what this finals does. You can have reliability issues all year, but if it's good for that one weekend, it doesn't matter. And everyone's under pressure when we go to Adelaide from reliability point of view. But if you're Chaz, you drive the car fast. You make sure when you cross the line, if it breaks down, it crosses the line Sunday afternoon, then it breaks down on the in-lap. You just drive the car as hard as possible, and there's no second chance. So you have to drive the wheels off it, and you just got to trust your crew. That's what we do in this sport.
Yeah. If we look at Brock Feeney, our next guy who booked a ticket into the finals, he was our Sprint Cup champion. It sounds strange that he hadn't won a race since Queensland Raceway, which kind of seems like a long time ago. He just didn't get the ability to get on the top step of the podium for the Enduro Cup, and then grabbed that win here this weekend. He got another pole position, so that makes him equal with Scott McLaughlin on 16 pole positions. We looked at Adelaide. I mean, he is the guy that has a huge amount of form at Adelaide. I mean, it seems like perfect timing for Brock Feeney to get another win in Supercars.
Yeah, big time. I mean, he needed that win. There's no doubt about that, especially on Saturday. Just didn't quite have the grunt, and you're thinking, well, if Will Brown can go from 15th and almost walk past Brock into turn 1, what's going on there? So caught wind on Saturday night that 888 were investigating doing an engine change on the 88, verified that on Sunday morning. Brock goes out, gets pole, wins the race. So You can put two and two together if you want, but Brock needed to get that win as a driver. Personally, you need winning momentum, but Brock's been saying all this time, and Frosty, you can probably agree, looking back to 15, leading the championship going into the last round is a massive advantage.
If we look at Will Brown, the other side of the garage, Frosty, we spoke about his qualifying performance on the last episode, and once again, unfortunately for him, just wasn't able to get on top of that car in qualifying. I think he's the survivor if you look at it, because he got himself out of jail. Him and the team got himself out of jail to book his ticket into the finals. But if you look at Adelaide, if he qualifies poorly again, it's going to be tough for him. What do you think?
It is. Isn't it funny, just following back, thinking Brock Feeney's out of form when he finished second? It's crazy. The standard that he's put on himself is a credit to himself, because he's had an unbelievable year. But that's putting pressure on Will Brown. But the team didn't execute qualifying very well, getting him out of the car. I don't understand that on Saturday, why you would have your driver out of the car. We all predict the cutoff time. Supercars do a very good job. Scotty Sinclair in the background, they put that graphic up of what the cutout time is. He wasn't faster than, I think it was an 8.9 or whatever the time was. And he's in the pits with his helmet off. I was blown away with that, because I don't understand why you do that. So they put pressure on him for a guy who actually needs to just have a clean run in qualifying and to get the job done. But come the race, he delivered. I was blown away by the way he come through, because Sandown's tough. It's a tough track. We're covered by a tenth of a second, can be 10 spots on the grid. He drove through very easily. It was reminiscent of that Van Gisbergen broken collarbone starting 17th drive. Very impressive. And he went from out of form, out of contention, to really now going to Adelaide. He's in the box seat as well. So big drive. But I think the team really put pressure on him for a guy who needs just a clean run, and they need to tidy that up come Adelaide.
In those circumstances, during those qualifying sessions, is that a conversation that you guys have as a group, driver, engineer, team, or does it come down to the engineer making that call? Like, what, in your experience, how does that usually work?
Well, it's hard with the cutoff time. You never know. It's a lottery number, effectively, that you think is going to be okay. The thing he did was go really fast in that first outing. So he went P1. So then 10 people have got to jump you to then knock you out of the shootout. So they were probably happy to finish 8th, 9th, 10th to just get in, because, at Sandown, there was 10 minutes between qualifying and the shootout. So temperature in the car, temperature in the brakes. Being the first car out is actually quite good on a track that's very hard to generate tyre grip and temperature. So I'm sure they had we're fastest, maybe we'll get jumped by 7 people, but they miscalculated that big time. So I think you could see it on his face. He was grumpy, because he was actually quite fast for once in qualifying and didn't get rewarded. So we all have our, plans are all there until plans go out the window. So, I'm sure he thought he was safe, but I saw the first lap when the first car went out and went purple on the first sector, he dropped his head and walked away. He knew he was done. And by then it's game over. So they need to get that right, because that'll cost him. Come Adelaide, that'll cost him.
Yeah. If we look at our fourth and final person into the finals, it's Kai Allen. Incredible result, a rookie in the Supercars Championship. If you look back to Darwin, heading into Darwin, he was 17th in the championship, and he's got himself into that Final Four, which is just outstanding by himself and the team. Paves, I mean, what a story. Like, the finals is always going to create stories, and this is the perfect story.
It is the perfect story. I mean, if you're a journo or a fan of Penrite Racing or Ford or just a sports fan, it's great, because we've got a championship leader, a guy who's won 13 races. You've got a 2-time Bathurst winner who's killing it in the finals. The reigning champ who keeps coming back. But Kai Allen is the ultimate wild card. He's 20 years of age, but we spoke to Kai on our podcast on Sunday night, and he said, look, I've been to Adelaide the last 3 years in a title fight, so he knows what it takes to deliver to the pressure and stand up to the pressure. He's had the heartbreak in 2022, the Super 3 title. He crashed at turn 8 all over. 23, he overran Zach Best to win the Super 2 title, and that really put him on the map. And even last year, when the guys were going past him being a bit quicker, he was still just in the fight. So Kai, like you said, since I think about Darwin, has been brilliant. I mean, that podium, especially on the Gold Coast, was a real show of strength and character by Penrut Racing to go, we're in a hole here, let's try something different. But the really impressive thing about Kai, and Scott Sinclair has all the stats, his consistent lap times in the race are what set him up. He barely deviates from his lap time at all. He's a robot. And to be that good at 20 years of age, he's not going to go down without a fight in Adelaide. He's going to be right there, and with Matt Payne in his corner, watch out, I reckon.
Frosty, you've been working with the rookies at Tickford in Super 2. Tell me, what impresses you about Kai Allen, just how he's been able to, put this championship together and be there at the end under all the pressure?
He's a quiet achiever. He's always up there. He's had quite a few podiums, and Willowbank was another one. He shined up there. I don't know, he's very quiet, doesn't say a lot. There's a lot of noise around the contenders and all that side. Somehow he keeps getting through. Like, to be honest, I didn't see him getting through Gold Coast. And then I didn't see him getting through Sandown. So what are we going to say come Adelaide afternoon Sunday? I didn't see you winning it. This happens, these young guys, they're not phased. He actually raced there last year when, remember Richie, whatever it was, he had his drama, but he's raced there before. He's got experience in a long race. And he's got no pressure. Like, those top three are expected to win by their teams and fans and everyone watching. And Kai Allen's the smoky that's coming through. So he has Matt Payne, like you said, Paves in his corner. Huge asset. He's fast. He's got a few scores to settle, which I'm sure we're going to cover. And having him in your corner and the team behind you with all that experience, he's a chance. And these are the ones that win that are unexpected, and I wouldn't be surprised come Sunday afternoon he's knocking on the door. He gets pit priority, he has a good teammate, and no pressure. That's a big recipe for success, so don't write him off.
Hasn't yet won a race in Supercars and could potentially be the next rookie since Craig Lowndes, 1996, to win a Supercars Championship. So look out for what is going to happen with Kai Allen. If we speak about his teammate Matt Payne, unfortunately Matt Payne, Cameron Waters, had a pretty exciting finish to the Supercars Championship campaign. Frosty, I need to ask you, you're the guy that's driven these cars. You understand the pressure of trying to fight for a championship. Cam Waters, your good buddy, what do you think of, I suppose, his aggression over the weekend and the battles he had, particularly with Will Brown and Matt Payne?
Yeah, that was aggressive, and I think the Brown one was unlucky. I don't personally, and it's not because I drive with Cam, I don't think that was a penalty in my opinion. And even listening to the radio, Will said, I don't know if he hit me or not. So that fired Cam up, like, no doubt that fired him up, because you had a 5-second penalty. Your championship hopes are on the line, and this is what finals is doing, because you're racing people aggressively, and then that flows on to the next part with Matt Payne. In hindsight, when you look back, Matt just needed to sit there behind Cam and he makes it in. But when you're racing and you're racers and you're trying to pass, and I didn't really see it, but Cam feels he rubbed him up a little bit, and then return serve. And that's what this finals is going to do. And if that's semi-final, we call it, imagine the finals. Like, there's going to be chaos everywhere. There's going to be square-ups. There's going to be everything. But it was a big move. Cam was on a mission. He was pushing hard. And turn 4, they locked wheels. And we saw that same move Saturday with Will Brown and Ryan Wood. They got away with it. As soon as you lock wheels and the point of contact with lots of steering lock on for Matt Payne, and in the rear wheel hit his front, then they're both out of the race. So, aggressive. It was aggressive, but good TV. I enjoyed watching that. That was good TV.
Yeah, we enjoyed it. Paves, I suppose if you look at Tickford as a whole, him and Thomas Randall, Cameron Waters and Thomas Randall get knocked out. They just didn't quite have the pace all weekend long, did they, from the outset? And it made it hard for both of those guys to try and survive.
Yeah, and I think, and to what Frosty said, a lot has been said about what happened on Sunday with Cam and Matt, but I think Tickford really lost it on Saturday. For Cam to go backwards in that race and for Thomas to qualify 22nd, I mean, they were in the drop zone on Sunday, so they were already behind the 8 ball. And it's frustrating to an extent if you're a Tickford fan, because Cam probably played it a bit safe at Gold Coast just to get through, and that's all well and good. But if you can chase results at a place like the Gold Coast and get more points, you can move up and give yourself a bit of breathing room. And they just had no breathing room. Cam was on the bubble, going into Saturday, and he finished outside the top 10, and he was outside the bubble. So, and for Thomas as well, it was quite difficult from his perspective because he just didn't fire a shot. And you could say from some angles that he scraped through on the Gold Coast, through what happened to Brodie and Anton and Ryan, but at the same time, Thomas had a good enough season to make it to Sandown. So he may say that he probably didn't deserve to be there, but I think he did. I think he had enough of a season under his belt, but when it came to the crunch, they just didn't have the car pace required to throw a shot, and the pressure was on from the outset.
If we look ahead to Adelaide, Red Bull Ampol Racing, they've got Brock Feeney, who's quick all the time, qualifying, racing. They've got Will Brown, who's quick in races and can be quick in qualifying. How is this team going to manage these guys? We know double stacking can play a part. We know safety cars can play a part. They've got two guys who definitely want to win this championship. I mean, how do they manage this?
Well, they're going to say all the corporate-y, politically correct stuff. They're going to say everyone's got a chance and we're going to be equal and we're going to do all this. But there's pit strategy, so whoever qualifies fastest is going to get priority. And gone are I'll let you have this priority this race. This is now or never. So there's that side. There's the mind games in the truck. You sit in the engineering debrief with one of your biggest competitors. You sit and get changed with that driver. So the mind games start. Don't listen to we're both going to have a good race. They're racing each other. So don't listen to that stuff. I've been there before. You play the mind games. You're trying to beat that guy. So they're going to manage not just the on-track, they've got to manage everything. So, and even expectation, both drivers think they should win. Will's trying to defend his championship and get a win, and Brock's trying to win his first ever one, and he's been the dominant one all year, so he'll be walking around thinking, well, this is my championship. So a lot of games are going to play out. Riana in the background, trust me. The other two drivers don't have that. They definitely don't have that. They have a team that's fully around them. They have a driver beside them who, not just a driver, but someone who can qualify pole, Matt Payne, Ryan Wood. So let the games begin. We sit here as spectators, and a lot happens behind the scenes, trust me, and you see that on track. We're going to see some good action.
Paves, it's not just going to be the final four. I mean, that's where the focus is, to win the championship. But you've got, we were calling them outlaws over the weekend, guys like Brodie Kostecki, now guys like Cam Waters, who aren't in the championship fight, who can massively impact these races. We've got Austin Cindric is there doing a wild card as well. So there's a whole pile of other people that are potentially going to upset the apple cart for these four guys that are trying to win a championship. I mean, how do you see that playing out?
It's going to be hard for Triple Eight. It's going to be the hardest for Triple Eight because, like Frosty said, Ryan Wood has got every chance to get pole positions and win races, and Chaz can just kind of play wingman to him, and then they can change it around vice versa. Matt Payne again with Kai Allen. It is important for Kai and Chaz to qualify well, but clearly they're doing that. For Triple Eight, it will be awkward, but I love what Will Brown said in the Sunday press conference. He said, I can start wherever I want. You can't write me off. So there's a bit of mongrel in Will, which is good for the sport. And I think for Brock, you've really got to consider that. I mean, they're mates. They can do all the TikToks they want together for the team, but it's going to get awkward because when you're fighting for a championship and there's little to no buffer. I mean, last year Will went into the finale and he wrapped it up on Saturday, and Brock just had to do the job he could. He won that race on Saturday and then had his bingle on Sunday with Chaz. If that's the same this year, and they're fighting for a championship, and Chaz is right there, and Ryan and Kai and Cam Waters, who's going to be probably the hungriest of the lot, it's going to be awkward for Triple Eight. There's no doubt about that. But on the flip side for that as well, I mean, Chaz's speed this year in the finals has been immense, but his form in Adelaide the last few years has just been ridiculous. So I like someone like a Cam or a Matt or a Brodie to get a win. And I don't know about you, Frosty, but if you dangle a 50 grand carrot for a Friday race, I think everyone's going to be going hard for that. It's going to pay for a few beers. So thoughts on that Friday race, Frosty? That's going to be crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I think this is where people have been saying what incentive have the other guys got who are out of the finals, and we've seen it play out really well. Heimgartner at Gold Coast, it shows that people are still racing really hard. Throw some cash and an end of season race, and a few square ups and people changing teams and all that sort of stuff. They don't need the pyrotechnics to turn up, because I tell you what, the drivers will create the fireworks. So it's going to be a great weekend. The finale has really been built up well, and it starts Friday. It's going to be huge, and I'm excited. It's actually, you know, you do miss driving. You do miss these crunch moments and these big moments, but people are getting their value. This is going to be an epic way to finish the year.
I'll throw the final question out to both of you. The guy that wins on Friday, if he's the final four, does he win the championship, and who is that guy?
Ooh, yes, they do, because the most points for the weekend wins. You don't have to win the weekend, but you have to win against your closest rivals. But Brock's advantage has always been getting pole and winning from pole. And that Friday race is condensed. And so if you're a Will Brown and you qualify at the airport again, you're not going to make the same ground on a Friday as you would Saturday or Sunday. So that's a massive momentum shift. So yes, I think for any opportunity you can get to gain points on your closest rivals, absolutely that Friday race will have a massive bearing. And, you know, 50 big ones, happy days.
I'm going to say no. Because I'm going to just have to go against your Pave just for some reason. But it's going to be interesting. I think Sunday is going to be it's game day, and you're going to see people crumble, make mistakes, and you're going to see desperation. And we haven't seen this in our sport for quite a few years, because, like you said, they wrap it up Saturday. They're just finishing. They're just trying to get, if fifth mathematically gets you the win, you finish fifth. But now it's not over until the last lap, and we're seeing people getting knocked out of finals contention with 5 to go. We're going to see people win or lose the championship with 5 to go. So Friday's going to be nice, but by no means is it done by that. I think it's going to be whoever can survive and get to the front and be clear of the carnage. That's going to be what wins it, because, you know, if Jazzy's second with a lap to go behind Brock, he doesn't care. He doesn't care about reliability. He's having a crack. You picture those two crash out, 100 points, bang. Kai Allen comes through. Bradbury just gets it done over the line, or he's winning. But it's not over until that last lap Sunday afternoon. So, like I said, Friday's nice, and if you got 50 grand, that'll be nice. But all right, Saturday, Sunday, it's going to be huge days, and that checkered flag's going to be your best friend if you're leading the race, because it's not done until the last lap.
$50,000 is on the line. A Repco Supercars Championship is on the line. Potentially a rookie to win a Supercars Championship is on the line. There is so much to play out. I cannot wait to get to the BP Adelaide Grand Final, November 27 to 30. Boys, thank you very much. We don't have very long until we get to find out who is going to win the 2025 Supercars Championship. Thanks, guys. We'll see you in Adelaide.